Hello, good morning to you, and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Galaxy Today, coming to you from Galaxy Television. My name is Justin Academy as we count down 4 days to the governorship and State House of Assembly elections. Welcome on board.
Of course, it's also on with Uche Ojekulije. Like you rightly said, we are counting down to the gubernatorial election, which is just a few days away. It's also safe to say it's just a few hours away, right? And it looks like people's pulse is not as tense as it was during the presidential election. It already feels like people already know what the result is going to be, so they're all calm. And I'm talking about Lagos. People are already calm and they're calculative, feeling like, well, it's just going to come and go. And activities are already normal in Lagos.
Yes, yes. All right, you know how we do it on the show. We tried as much as possible to get a cross-section of Nigerians and views from across the geopolitical zone to talk about issues as they affect all of us. We'll not be doing any differently today. We have guests here in Lagos, Abuja, Ogun State, Oyo State. We also have from Kaduna and, of course, in Imo State. We'll be going to those zones in the course of the show. Let's welcome our guest here in Lagos. He is Tunde Oladujoye. He's the Publicity Secretary of the Ogun State APC Caretaker Committee. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today.
Good morning. It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity.
Okay, sir. So let's just take it off from INEC. We've had the presidential election the last over a week now, and people are already counting down to the gubernatorial elections. Okay, so you are the Publicity Secretary for APC Caretaker Committee.
Yes.
Seeing what has been going on in Ogun State and what people have been feeling or talking about, how do you foresee the gubernatorial in Ogun State? How do you think it's going to?
Well, for Ogun State, I think I think you said so in the introduction, in terms of calming down of nerves, of temper, and what have you.
Lagos.
Yeah, even in Ogun State.
Okay. Because
now it's been decided by Nigerians that they want a continuation of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. You know, and for Ogun State, the president won his election. The APC, our party, won 14 out of the 20 local governments. We won the 3 senatorial seats and 6 House of Rep from the 9. So we are good to go, and we are confident that Ogun State voters, educated electorates who have invested their votes in President Muhammadu Buhari, we also want to have his party at the state level for a seamless synergy.
All right, Mr. Generally, we'll come back to you so you can talk more on preparation. There's still Galaxy today. Let us take this quick soundbite on INEC's preparedness from Oyo State. I will come back and talk some more. Do join us again.
The inconclusiveness occasioned by non-compliance with the Commission guidelines affected a total number of 6 polling units, shared equally by the 2 local government areas. The 6 polling units listed above exhibited a common trait in the course of the election, that is, partial compliance with use of smart card readers, SCR for accreditation. The officials in these units abandoned the use of smart card readers for accreditation midway into the election due to the malfunctioning of the smart card readers. This scenario made the number of accredited voters lower than the vote cast, which simply means overvoting and consequently cancellation of elections in those polling units.
During or before and after election, it's our duty to protect life and property. And if you all know that, before the election or during the election, the security may be positioned in some strategic places in order to beef up security. And we should know that the election is not do or die election.
Welcome back. It is still Galaxy Today. Feel free to interact with us on social media using the hashtag Galaxy Today. If you have questions and comments for guests that just contribute generally on the elections, feel free to do so by sending SMS. The number will be on the screen shortly. We'll still have Tunde Olatunjoye with us. He's the Publicity Secretary of APC, Caretaker Committee. As we talk about preparations and INEC, the Ogun State, looking at how things have gone so far with all the elections done on Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, in your opinion, do you see INEC conducting credible elections in that state? Because from what we know, one of the zones was declared inconclusive.
Yeah, just one ward in a local government. And when I think when INEC sat and looked at it, they found out that even with the total registration in that ward and with the result already computed, even if that ward is cancelled, it will make no difference or significant difference on the general result. That is why the body went ahead and announced the winner for the senatorial seat and for the House of Reps seat there. But asking whether INEC will conduct a credible election has to do with a lot of factors. INEC is not a magician.
Okay.
It depends on the enabling environment.
Okay.
And that's why we are saying that first, this coming election should be conducted under the atmosphere of peace in Ogun State. We are urging our people to be confident, not to be intimidated, to come out and vote. We have raised issue of insecurity, violence. We've spoken to the concerned authority. We've communicated. We're asking for security measures to be stepped up, because voting at election is a fundamental human right recognized by the United Nations. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, Article 21, the United Nations says the will of the people shall be the basis of governance. And this will shall be expressed in a periodic election under the atmosphere of free and fair election. So if you are popular as a politician, if you are popular as a party, you don't need to harm hoodlums, you don't need to dispatch thugs to cause violence. Because the last election is like a bad history in Ogun State. We had 4 commissioners of police dispatched to Ogun State for that election. And at the end of the day, a police officer was still shot dead.
Okay, so who do we blame for that? If you say that you had 4 commissioners of police to oversee the election process, and yet one was killed, not amongst the commissioner, a policeman was killed. Who do we blame for this? Are you saying is that
we have said to the whole world that we don't have trust in the present commissioner of police in Ogun State, who has been transferred and refused to be transferred, and we are saying that incidents do happen, but as at the time I'm talking to you, nobody has been arrested in connection with that incident. And that is why we are saying that we want the deployment of soldiers in Ogun State. We are not saying soldiers should be taken to the polling booths, because that will be illegal. But we want soldiers in strategic areas, in known dark spots and flash points, where people want to make trouble. When they see the soldiers, they will think otherwise. And we have assurance that soldiers will be deployed. We have assurance that security will be stepped up. Let people vote the party of their choice. Nobody should intimidate or coerce people on who to vote, because it is a democratic right. People are free to express themselves. So we believe that if the election in Ogun State is conducted in an atmosphere of non-violence, in a peaceful atmosphere, definitely the statistics we have, the support we have, our party will emerge.
All right, it's still Galaxy Today. We'll take yet another break. Just to remind you to feel free to interact with us on social media using the hashtag Galaxy Today. You can also interact with us via SMS. The number is now on the screen. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The inconclusiveness occasioned by non-compliance with the Commission guidelines affected a total number of 6 polling units, shared equally by the 2 local government areas. The 6 polling units listed above exhibited a common trait in the course of the election, that is, partial compliance with use of smart card readers, SCR for accreditation. The officials in these units abandoned the use of smart card reader for accreditation midway into the election due to the malfunctioning of the smart card readers. This scenario made the number of accredited voters lower than the vote cast, which simply means overvoting and consequently cancellation of elections in those polling units.
During or before and after election, it's our duty to protect life and property. And if you all know that, before the election or during the election, the security may be positioned in some strategic places in order to beef up security. And we should know that the election is not do or die election.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, it's Galaxy. Today we're looking at INEC preparedness and the credibility of the governorship election. We will be going to Abuja shortly as we look at these issues. But before we do that, we still have Tunde Oladunjoye in the studio here in Lagos. He is the publicity secretary of the APC Caretaker Committee in Ogun State. All right, you say you don't have confidence in the police commissioner in Ogun State too. So just what can be done? Because you said it yourself now. A police officer was also killed during the last election. Yes, so what are we going to do? Do we militarize elections in Ogun State and Nigeria generally? What's the way forward, really?
We are saying that an election that is conducted under the atmosphere of violence cannot be timed to be free and fair. So we are saying that at the last election, in fairness, the IG of police actually tried with the deployment of the extra commissioner of police. But there is a sitting commissioner that has been in the state for a long time that we feel is in the pocket of the sitting governor. And I will say that it is not believable that at now, no arrest has been made. However, we are saying that despite the arrangement of the police for this next election, we want the presence of soldiers in strategic areas, not at the polling booth. I will never support that the soldiers are posted to polling booths. But we know the intelligence, they know the flash points, they know the enclaves of people who are likely to cause violence. Let that election be conducted under the atmosphere of peace. We have been assured that soldiers will be deployed. We have been assured that security will be stepped up. That's why we are now encouraging our people to be confident to come out en masse. If you look at the last election, about 1.2 million voters were registered in Ogun State, if I'm not mistaken. About 1.6 or so. Less than 650,000 voted. So we want people to come out and vote en masse, vote the candidate of their choice without being intimidated. Right. I want to advise those who may want to be used as thugs to think twice. because those who are going to use them as stocks are not going to use their own children.
Okay. All right. We'll come back to you now. Let's go to Abuja. We have the convener of the Coalition in Defense of Nigeria's Democracy and Constitution, Ariyo Dare Atoye. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today as we count down to the governorship and state houses of assembly elections, which come up just 4 days from now. I just want you to just give a bit of advice to the Independent National Electoral Commission so we don't have the little skirmishes and irregularities that marred the previous election we just concluded not too long ago.
Thank you very much. I think at this point in time, the INEC has to be very painstaking in the sense that I expect INEC to insist and probably even call for an emergency security meeting of all stakeholders where INEC will insist that the security agencies must play by the book and by the rule. Where INEC will insist that its officials, including their ad hoc officials, must be protected by security agencies. Because there are only just two things that which INEC must do before next Saturday to properly enhance the card reader such that nobody is disenfranchised in different parts of this country. Number two is security. And I think there is a third one, which early deployment of materials. However, the early deployment of material is predicated upon the guarantee, security guarantee of all its officials. These are some of the things that I think INEC must do before Saturday. However, the people also have their own responsibility. I am advocating community protection of ballots. Community protection of ballot to the extent that people form shields and allow the will of the people to count. They are going to send thugs, miscreants, including some compromised security officials. But when you have 50, 100, 200 people remaining at the ballots, at the polling unit, with their phone, live streaming, recording, a good number of these people are going to push back. Even if when they shoot into the air, the people must know that, no, they are not going to kill them. What they want to do is to scare them. Although you can say there are exceptions in Rivers State and some part of the South-South, there are ways of doing these things. One thing is this, INEC must insist that there must be protection for its official. I also want to say this, that every responsible Nigerian must come out and condemn the action of security agencies, our soldiers, and some compromised police officers for what they did on February 23rd. We must have a nation first before we talk about an election. The February 23rd election was a flawed election, a massively rigged election, a rape on democracy. This must not be repeated in the governorship election, which it has a lot of stakes simply because the state government and the local government are the closest to the people, even though there won't be a local government election. But House of Assembly and the state governors are the closest to the people in the elections that INEC is conducting. House of Assembly, there is high stake. Governorship, there is high stake. However, we must ensure that the security of people are guaranteed. The partisan nature of our security agencies must end with February 23rd. They should allow the will of the people to count. We have seen declaration of war in Akwa Ibom. We have seen declaration of war in Rivers. This is not how to play politics. Oyo State is there. Allow the people's will to count. Let the people vote for whoever they like. Do all your political gimmicks and intrigues. But on election day, allow the ordinary people, ordinary Nigerians, to vote. Because what they are doing by stoking tension is to cause voter apathy. When there is voter apathy, then it gives room for monetary inducement. That is when see and buy will work more. Because with 1 billion naira, at 5,000 naira, you can get 200,000 votes. With 2 billion, at 5,000 naira, you can get 400,000 votes. That is the calculation of some of these politicians. When there is voter apathy, they should allow the will of the people to count. This idea of rigging election intimidating people, we should have left it behind. It's unfortunate that under this administration that have started anti-corruption, transparency, accountability, that we are seeing what we call massive rigging with impunity, shamelessly. This must end with this election.
All right, we must say. All right, we must say a very big thank you to Rio Dari Atoye. He is the convener coalition in defense of democracy, Nigeria's democracy and constitution. He joined us live from Abuja. All right, keep your messages coming and feel free to interact with us on social media. Send us SMS if you have questions or if you have any contribution as we talk about the governorship election, which is just barely 4 days away from today. You know, there were issues with the last one. People complained about ballot snatching, specifically some places in Lagos here where there were reports of violence in Okoto axis of the state. The same was said for Rivers State, part of Delta State, Akwa Ibom State, you know. But how do we begin to go around all of this so that we would have violence-free polls? I'm sure the director of the National Orientation Agency in Imo State should be able to give us a bit of an insight on what we need to do to forestall these issues of security lapses at election day. Many thanks for joining us. Vitus Ikocha, he is the director of the National Orientation Agency in Imo State. Election violence on election day. What do we do? How do we move forward? The last election was problematic for some states. How do we move forward?
Very much. In Imo State, it wasn't very much problematic because voters turned out in mass to cast their votes. I think the only problem we had, which led to some problems, was the non-arrival of voting materials at the voting centers in the state. This angered some of the voters who had to leave on time after waiting for a very long period. But for those who waited and cast their votes, by the time they finished and the collation started, it was late. And because of this lateness, in some of the rack centers, there were no lights for the votes to be collated. So this made them to go to the local government center. And because of this, those who waited at the collation point could not see votes being collected. Rumors started flying here and there. But thank God in Imo State, we hadn't any violence, except in one or two areas where some collation officers were forced to declare the results they have against their wishes. So this time around, coming up on Saturday, which is the governorship election, I'm employing the security agencies to do what they did during the presidential election and beef up more security. What I mean by beefing up security is that they should be parading the nooks and crannies of the state, so that where we had the incident of snatching of election materials, we will not have it this time. Because there is a time lag between when the supervisors will call the security agencies to come and rescue them. If they are very far, the person who may have snatched the ballot materials may have gone very far. So, but if the security agencies are very near, they will rescue them on time. I know of a case of Ngobala where the election materials were snatched, and those 2 wards, voting did not take place on the first day. So what I am saying now is, we are aware that security officials at the polling units do not have arms. But those who are going to back them up, who will be parading the nooks and crannies, should be well equipped so that whenever they are called upon, they can come and rescue this ad hoc INEC staff. Because this is where we are having problems. And enough security should be employed at the rack centers and the collation centers. Because these politicians have perfected the method of trying to thwart the results of the election by snatching collation papers at the collation centers. But where security is well beefed, I don't think this will happen during the Saturday coming governorship election.
Quick one before we'll let you go finally. Let's talk about voter inducement and vote buying, which predominated some polling units in some states. What was the scenario in Imo State, and specifically what has the NOA done as regards proper education of the electorate?
Election, and as I'm talking to you, our officers are in the field sensitizing the voters, the electorate, on why it is wrong for them to sell their votes. I am aware that during the presidential election, the incidence of vote buying was very minimal in the state. But I am aware that the forthcoming gubernatorial election, there may be an upsurge because of the candidates who are involved, each of them trying to undo the other. But you will agree with me that some of this vote buying is not done at the polling centers because people are now aware. What the politicians now do is, for the past 1 week, they have been going around communities, villages, and hamlets, talking to them in their meetings, in their assemblies, trying to induce them with one thing or the other. But we, as National Orientation Agency, we have gone into the field to tell the people that if you sell your vote, you have sold your conscience. You have sold your future. If you take 5,000 and sell your vote, you have sold your vote for the next 4 years. The electricity, the education, the healthcare they would have provided, they have bought it from you.
Thank you for your time. That as much as we can take. You have sent that message across, and Nigerians, they know better right now not to sell their votes. I've been speaking with the Director of the National Orientation Agency in Imo State, Vitus Ikocha, talking about how it happened in Imo State, what they've been able to do, to prevent recurrence of some of the issues that, marred part of the elections on February 23. We are going now to Ibadan. We have Dr. Bade Ojo, a political scientist, joining us as we look at issues that need to be addressed. Many thanks for staying with us, Dr. Ojo. Let's talk about inducement. The NOA has given a perspective concerning what they have done so far. With what happened in Rivers State, where prominent people, including the governor and commissioner and some military officers, were alleged to have been involved in inducement of voters, how do you see this being solved as we go to polls for various states on Saturday?
You see, as we go to polls on Saturday in various states for gubernatorial election, my appeal to Nigerians is that we should not be desperate for any reason. The election last time wasn't the best. Result went to the highest bidder in most constituencies. There are two things that turn election to a farce in Africa. One, vote buying. Two, violence. In Rivers State, those two things manifested conspicuously. There were manifestations of violence. There were glaring cases of manipulation of the voters with inducement with money. So this coming Saturday, INEC need to brace up. But the problem really is not with INEC for me. INEC is election management body. The security aspect of election makes election legitimate. Wherever there are violence, the result cannot be legitimate. And where voters have been induced because of the culture of poverty, such election can never be free and fair. And that is a major concern of we political scientists with election. Electorates should not be induced. Nobody should be intimidated. I have looked at the result across the state. One trend which is unfortunate is apathy. In some states, less than 50% of registered voters actually voted, which is unfortunate. In Oyo State, where I'm talking from, more than 2 million registered as a voter. Unfortunately, less than 50% voted for all political parties. And that is not the way it should be. When you look at Lagos State, with the highest number of registered voters in the Southwest, and when you look at the total number of votes, it's a serious problem of apathy. So security agents need to work under consortium.
Ango, but let's just talk to our guest in Lagos for a bit on what you have mentioned on voter apathy, and we'll look at another issue of underage voting with you in a bit. Dr. Ojo in Oyo State talked about how Nigerians, didn't really come out to vote en masse, judging by the number of people that voted and the actual people, registered rather, the actual people who came out physically to vote. How do you begin to change this narrative?
Yes, the problem is actually general, and it's not just starting now, it has been on. And so much so that it has even put to question the kind of democracy we have. If you have 1.6 million registered voters and you have about 600 turning up for election, and you have the winning candidate getting like 300,000, when you then compare that figure to the registered figure, voters figure, and the population of that particular state, you start wondering. But that is, whether you like it or not, that is the democracy. It is those who participate that will determine and make choice for those who fail to show up. And that is why the concerned government agencies must continue to reorientate our people. Politicians themselves must be less violent, must even desist totally from being violent, because some people are scared. So it's a lot of factors. We need to encourage people to vote the more so that their votes will count and society will be better for it.
All right, let's just round off with Dr. Ojo in Ibadan. So let's talk about the issue of underage voting, which were reported in some states, in as much as the Independent National Electoral Commission denied that in states such as Kano. In your opinion, look, as we go to polls on Saturday for the governorship of state houses of assembly, how can this issue of underage voting be addressed?
You see, the issue of underage voter is unfortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that it is physical. When you see that this chap is 10 years, 11 years, this person is not up to 18 years, and they queue up to vote, my expectation is that security operatives will get them arrested. But a situation whereby you could find traffic warden, a female traffic warden at a polling unit, a policeman that is aloof, that doesn't care about what is happening. You see, they care, they just sat down watching you doing the thing the way you wanted to do it. Law enforcement was seriously a problem in the last election. The police was aloof. So wherever there were cases of underage voter, you may not really blame INEC, though it is the responsibility of INEC officials, most especially the ad hoc ones, to say that, look, this person is underage, you cannot vote. But if they compromise, they will not bother. But the security operatives are not supposed to compromise themselves. So that is a very serious problem in terms of law enforcement. But for me, in places I visited in Ibadan, I could not see instances of underage voting, but very, very prominent in the north.
All right, we must say a very big thank you to Dr. Bade Ojo, a political scientist who joined us from Ibadan in Oyo State to look at some of the relevant issues that should be addressed as Nigerians go to vote on Saturday. But we'll be going to Abeokuta in Beta, where we have Dr. Babatunde Ikpaye, the Deputy Director General of the APM. Good morning to you, Dr. Ikpaye. Many thanks for joining us on Galaxy today as we look at issues ahead the governorship holds. Let's talk specifically in Ogun State. What are your major concerns that you think should be looked into to prevent recurrence as Ogun residents go to polls come Saturday?
I didn't hear your question well.
It's the question so you can hear me clearly. I asked what your major concerns or fears are as Ogun residents go to poll vis-a-vis what INEC should be doing come March 9.
Thank you for bringing me onto this platform. The major concern generally is just about security, how we ensure as a state and as people that the sanctity of the electoral process is guaranteed, and that the people who will be mobilized to perform their civic duty do that in a secure and very safe environment. And so, largely, I will appeal to those in charge of the security apparatus that will manage the security of the election to be up and doing, to be preemptive, and make sure that they are available at the polling units as early as possible on time. And of course, for our people to conduct themselves in a very orderly manner, and that voting should not be seen as a do or die. Serving people should also not be seen as a do or die. And of course, our political competitor to see this as a process that will culminate in our service to the people, and that you are not going to serve people at all costs or by force. So once we conduct ourselves in a manner that is civil enough within a democratic process, and we also ensure that the security men and women, up and doing, demand their positions well, and they are able to take action promptly where necessary. I do not expect anything ugly to happen in the course of our electioneering process in Ogun State.
Specifically, some issues that have arisen from Ogun State, what with the suspension of the governor, Senator Bikola Amoso, specifically for anti-party activities, for fronting specifically your party, the APM. What is the pulse of the resident in Ogun State with his suspension, and what is the APM doing really? What are the chances really as you guys go to polls on Saturday?
Well, let me start by saying that APM is a party that was launched on 2nd of January 2019, just barely 2 months ago. It's a party that has won a House of Representatives, almost won the Senate, and did fairly well across the Central District in the last election. And you know that APM is a child of necessity that was born out of APC in Ogun State. And so 80% of those who voted APC in the last election will probably vote APM on Saturday. As for the suspension, if you look at APC constitution, you see that that suspension does not conform with the laid down process by which a party member in APC can be suspended. So it's a nullity from the start. It doesn't. It's not going to pass the scrutiny of the law, and the governor is not perturbed because he's a goal-getter. And if you are somebody who's a strategist within the Nigerian, I would say, democratic process, you are going to be focused on the goal. So the goal for now is to ensure that our candidate wins the election, and the distraction from the national quarters of APC will not be a serious consideration for us as a party. Because the governor said it clearly, even when President was seated, that APM is a party that was, or a platform that was adopted to fight imposition from the national headquarters of APC. And Ogun State and Ogun people will speak on Saturday. And that voice will resonate at the national headquarters of APC. And of course, as one family, we'll go back to our home where we truly belong after the election.
Okay, saying that there was a bit of, I don't know if I should call it a fight, or more like there was a bit of disagreement during the presidential election when he came visiting Ogun State. And then, of course, we know what went down there. Now, do you not think that people of Ogun State might be a bit confused when it comes to the Guber polls this Saturday, saying that your governor, on the other hand, is endorsing someone from APM, and then, of course, APC, on the other hand, the PDP? Do you not see a kind of violence happening this Saturday?
Clearly, immediately after the presidential election, the governor moved into APM. And so the governor and many of us who are part of government are in APM for now. And it's a political reengineering that brings collaboration for specific election. And so you recall that APM, as a party in Ogun State, adopted President Buhari as a presidential candidate. And we voted massively for the president in Ogun State, and President won. And let me tell you something, the flag bearers of APC know that 80% of the results that brought in were votes that was cast by members of APM. So there's no confusion in it. The governor was so explicit. He said, I am now APM until after March 9th, 2019. And so just wait post March 9th, then governor goes back to his party APC.
All right, Dr. Ikpaye, we'll come back to you in a bit, but want to get reactions now from Tunde Oladunjoye, who is with us here in the studios. He is the publicity secretary of the Ogun APC Caretaker Committee. You've heard Dr. Ikpaye, what he's said concerning the APC APM dichotomy, if I may say.
You can see that actually it's very funny. Ikpaye is my very good friend and brother. Okay. But he just said what he has to say. Okay. But I don't know if you understood the implication of what he has just said on national TV. That after the national election, the governor has left APC for APM. That is news to us, because even the last time we checked, the governor was still seeing himself as APC senator-elect. Okay. But if the Director General of Campaign of APM, Dr. Olatunde Ikpaye, is now telling us that the governor has left APC for APM, that means he has not, that means maybe he should not even have been suspended because he's no longer in our party. That is one for the record. Secondly, it is very clear. The confusion generated by Governor Amusun in the last election led to 41,000 voided votes in Ogun State. Apart from APC, all other political parties in Ogun State, including APM, did not get votes that were up to the voided votes. ADC, African Democratic Congress, got 25,000 votes all over, put together in the state. APM got 23,000 votes put together in Ogun State, and we had 41,000 voided votes. So the confusion is raging, but we are now coming up to say educate our people the more. We are also going to have some leeway in the governorship because the number of candidates will also be reduced, you know, and people are now being educated. You don't need to use your thumb, you can use this kind of finger to vote and things like that. What we are asking for is simple. Let Ogun State people, Ogun State registered voters, workers, labor union, and let them decide who becomes the next governor in the state. It is not for a governor to impose his will on the people, because the worst political insult I got came from the governor when we met at the government house, and he started calling us Ogun East. So I'm from Ogun East, where the deputy governorship candidate of APM is from, who is also serving commissioner for agriculture, and the governor called us, Ogun East, where is Ogun East? Come Ogun East. And we rushed to him, and he said, hey, please don't be annoyed, it's because of the time, this is your deputy governor, right there on our feet at his lawn tennis. Lawn tennis court. Politics about lobbying. Politics is not about lauding. For somebody like me and other political leaders, we never sat, we are not part of the decision. You know, say this deputy governor is our governor, is the deputy governor candidate for representing our Central district. Why we are standing? No consultation. And when we had 40 slots, 40 elective offices, and the governor wrote all the names, and he didn't stop at that. He said, if you are not pleased, go and hang. That is not politics. That is tyranny. And people said, no, we have an alternative person. This is our candidate. So if the governor, as he is telling us that the governor has moved from APC to APM, it is good. We retrieve our mandate, because according to even up to the Supreme Court, it is not individuals that are voted for. It is party. And the person that won the Ogun Central Senatorial District election is APC. If the privileged winner or individual that was accorded that privilege in person of His Excellency Governor Musu has now moved to APM, very easy, drop the ticket.
Okay, well, let's get reaction from Ogun State right now, because we are almost out of time. Dr. Ikmaya, I'm sure you have followed this conversation. Please go ahead with your reactions.
I've listened to my dear friend. This is about the choices that Governor Musa has made, and I was just quoting the governor what he said on the day he started campaigning for Honorable Akelade. And the democratic process in Nigeria is about choices. Let me ask my brother, because we are brothers, and many of the pre-election issues, the issue of how the candidates emerge, they are come and gone. And some of us have lived with the injustices everywhere, either from the national headquarters or whatever. I don't want to dwell into that. We have Saturday in front of us. The governor has made a choice. And then if anybody is not comfortable with that choice, I mean, there are legal processes to follow. And the governor has said that come Sunday, he's back in his party. And please, political association, it's a freedom, free exit, free entry. We were in various parties in the past. My brother was in PDP. I was in ACAPA, DPA, before we all met in APC. There are members, there are people who contested under ADC and PDP in different senatorial elections in the last few days, who have also joined their own camp, and they are celebrating them. And those people, after Saturday, may go back to PDP or ADC or wherever they came from. And so when you have a constitution that guarantees freedom of association, the governor may decide to be APM today, and then he may alive tomorrow and become APC or any other party. And you realize that even the president of the country...
Almost out of time. Let me just get one question in very quickly so we can just round off. So invariably, categorically, are you telling us that the governor of Ogun State, that Senator Bikola Mosu, has officially left the APC for the APM, just judging by the fact that he just won under the platform of the APC?
when you use the word official, that question can only be answered by the governor and those who parade themselves as the officers of APC, either at the state or national level, should bring out an official letter if there's any to that. But what I've just told you, that within political arrangements in Nigeria or anywhere in the world, there are a lot of possibility. It could be a collaboration, it could be an association, it could be a temporary networking, it could be a temporary arrangement. So whatever the governor has chosen to do is his personal choice, and anybody who has problem with that should just approach the court.
Dr. Babatunde, that's as much as we can take from our end in Ogun State. But Dr. Babatunde is the Deputy Director General of the APM. He joined us live from Abeokuta. Many thanks to everyone who has been part of this show. Okay, I thought I could just read one or two messages, but we can't do that. We must say a very big thank you to you for joining us on the show as well. Tunde Oladojoye, the Publicity Secretary.
Thank you so much.
APC caretaker.
My last word is that election is not war.
Okay.
Let us be peaceful. Let the will of the people prevail.
Okay, that is well said. And of course, want to say a big thanks to Ari Odari Atoye, the convener Coalition of Defense Nigerian Democracy from Abuja, and also from, of course, of the state, Dr. Babatunde Baye, who is the Deputy Director General of APM. From Ibadan, we had Dr. Bade Ucho, a political scientist, and Righteous Ikeocha, the NOA Director from Imo State. Very big thanks to you, Saba, to enjoy this. We'll continue tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Uchi Iniquity. Have a beautiful Tuesday.
And I'm Justin Atademir. We'll return again tomorrow with more updates as we go to tomorrow's governorship and state house of assembly election on Saturday. You want to join us then. Bye for now.